I guess I'd just like to start, just like overall, probably like the most important issue right now. Canada has a new queen.
Yes.
The monarchy has been restored.
She's beautiful. She drives an RV, and she's instructing her subjects to go to their local law enforcement, go to the police department in whatever town they live in, and deliver a cease and desist order. This is just like a royal writ, essentially.
I mean, but what bloodline does she hail from? I mean, what is her sort of claim to the throne of Canada?
I think it's a vibes-based claim.
It's a Queen Ramona. That's her name.
Yes. All right, Queen Ramona.
Chris, would you just bring up Queen Ramona's proclamation to the people of Canada? I just want to just spread this important information here.
My fellow Canadians, my brothers and sisters, baby boy, baby girl of the Kingdom of Canada,
Baby boy, baby girl,
U.S. and the world, I address you today as the Kingdom of Canada's Queen and Commander-in-Chief to let you know that as of 6 p.m. Ottawa time, February 5th, 2022, I have placed the Kingdom of Canada under military rule.
Yes.
Effective 6 p.m. Ottawa time today, martial law is in effect.
Yes.
Okay.
Working class uprising, baby.
Yes. Okay. Enough of Queen Ramona. But yes, if you are currently living in Canada, martial law has been declared. If you are a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, either reserved or active, you are required to report to your commanding officer. You have to report for duty. It's on. Martial law is declared. The monarchy of Canada has been restored. Queen Ramona is in charge. Truckers are in charge.
She is also saying that anyone who vaccinates children will be summarily executed. And anyone who's been following this, like the QAnon Anonymous has been following this for 6 months or whatever. But on her Telegram channel, she's claiming that there are thousands of summary executions happening a day.
Canada's finally getting some of them. You got so jealous watching us just summarily execute all of our sickos. You're like, we got to get in on that.
Yeah, we need some of that shit up here.
And I'm saying, like Tom Hanks, been executed, been cloned, done. But there's there's so many Canadians in the American entertainment industry that are just sort of like sleeper agents. They need to be cloned and executed. Queen Ramona is going to take care of it.
I'm thinking about Jim Carrey, Dan Aykroyd, Mark for Death.
All the kids in the hall.
All of them. Scott Thompson.
You think it's just an accident that Norm Macdonald just died a couple months ago?
Yeah.
No. Military trial. Queen Ramona presided over his beheading.
That's right. Kablamo.
No, but I mean, Queen Ramona. I mean, I guess she's just sort of a figurehead or a grassroots organic social movement that has grown out of another grassroots organic working class movement. I am, of course, talking about the trucker protest. And, we haven't talked about this on the show. I've read a lot of speculation about it. I've read a lot of uninformed commentary. But, I mean, here's the thing. Here's what you need to know about it. If you call yourself a leftist or a socialist, it is absolutely incumbent on you to stand in solidarity with what I must stress is an authentic grassroots working class uprising against capital.
That's right. They are moving towards capital. Capital, if you pay attention to Canada, you know that they're shook because when indigenous land defenders, for instance, block a pipeline, right? They're met with the full force of the Canadian military. They're met with hundreds of RCMP officers in $50,000 worth of counterinsurgency tactical gear, right? But now you can tell with this authentic working class uprising in Ottawa that the government is so scared that they're not sending those people in. They're too scared.
And here's the thing: a lot of people are saying like the truckers, like this is just like an astroturf, like right wing, like similar to the Tea Party or January 6th or QAnon. And it may seem that way because the people who promote it and take part in it talk, seem, and act like QAnon, January 6th people, and like whatever complaints that they do have do seem to be overwhelmingly right wing. But let me ask you this: if this wasn't an authentic left wing protest and uprising against Capitol, why? Okay, if that isn't the case, then how come this current trucker protest movement doesn't really have any like demands about wages, collective bargaining, workplace safety? Doesn't really have any serious, like, doesn't have any really like actual concrete demands or asks to be made of the government? Okay, that's one. Number two, if this wasn't a left wing protest, then why is it ineffective and hated by virtually everyone in Canada?
Yeah. I mean,
Case closed.
If this isn't a left-wing protest, why is the Teamsters Union loudly proclaiming that everyone needs to get vaccinated to do their job?
So like, yeah, I mean this. So like, what they're camped out in Ottawa right now, in what really seems to me kind of like right-wing Chaz. Like that. That's what the trucker protest seems like to me.
We're calling it FAZ. It's Parliament Hill Autonomous Zone.
And we invented Chaz on this show, so obviously we support Faz. But yeah, like so this has been going on for like about how long? Like a month or a couple weeks or a month or something. Like how did the trucker protest start? And like what is it? Like the genesis of it is essentially vaccine mandates, right? Like, but what? But I mean, I was like trying to say like they don't really. But like, what is the ask here? Like, what are they demanding? Is it
no
just
more
like,
masks? They want to go. They want to go to Earl's and not have to wear a mask. They want to go to. They want to go to like mid-price family dining restaurants and not have to have a mask on, and they don't want to get vaccinated, and they want to be free to ride their machines and hang out on their Telegram channels. Yeah. I mean that's about it. Like you said, they don't really have any coherent political demands, and the idea that this is being framed as like a fucking revolt against capital is really funny because a lot of these people are owner operators. The union has come out against them, and it is kind of interesting to think about like that. There was a similar like truckers figuring out that the tools of their job can be used to stymie capital has like some precedent going back to the 1970s in America. Matt, we're gonna have Matt on my show next week to talk about this, but just briefly, like, after the Yom Kippur War, you had a lot of independent truckers getting hammered with like high gas prices and a nationwide mandate that they could only drive 55 miles an hour. So they realized that they could take their rigs and fucking gum up the interstates. They could block interstates. They could block transport, and they got into like almost a decade-long war with their union counterparts in the Teamsters. This fucking protest has less to do with material conditions than that does. This is also very vibes based.
Well, I mean, I think what it is I think all of the different streams of mass protests that we've seen on both sides of the border in the last couple of years are different groups of people, different demographic slices of the population reacting to the complete failure of the government to do its job in a emergency situation, the kind of thing that the government is designed to be able to handle and just manifestly failed to do. And then the shape of those protests are determined by the culture that the people who are feeling this frustration are steeped in. And when they go out and protest, what ends up really directing things and leaving a lasting legacy is money.
Yes.
Because absent real, meaningful, disciplined political organization, which we don't have on either side of the border for regular people, the only consistent director of effort is going to be people who are getting paid, people whose eyes are on the bag. And they're the ones who are going to be the most dedicated. They're going to be the ones who are going to be most influential, because that money is going to have its own centrifugal force that's going to pull everything towards it. But either way, it's what happens when a depoliticized and non-class conscious country tries to articulate somehow their deep alienation from a government that just has failed to do any kind of effective remediation of a crisis. And specifically, like, I think some people are wondering, like, God damn, how come these Canadians are going ham like this? And I think part of it is that if you think of Canada, it's essentially America if Obama never left office.
Yes.
Like,
amen.
Like, imagine if the entirety of the pandemic had happened under the white O'Bungler.
Yeah. I mean,
and so that you don't have the sort of like cathartic valves that right wingers in America had, cultural right wingers in America had when Trump was president. It's just been the face of the blackened face of Justin Trudeau presiding over this failure.
Yeah,
so and I mean, of course, like those are the people who are going to eventually decide enough is enough.
I mean, we'll get to this. We'll get to her in a different context later. But our Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, is an excellent example of like Obama-style policymaking. In that, she has been responsible for a lot of the pandemic, the financial response to the pandemic, and it's very telling that the first people she contacted were the CFIB, who are a collection of small business interests in Canada. Those were the people she went to be like, what does the working class need? This fucking union busting, people who honestly, like, class wise kind of represent the bulk of the convoy.
I mean, like, and, like Matt, like what you were saying about like the sort of centrifugal force of money. I mean, we see this borne out in protest movements in this country that are like, not coded as being right wing or hated by the right wing. I mean, look at the reporting that New York Magazine just put out about Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
just like
$60 million.
It's just like this Hoover for money that like of virtually no accountability, of which like this small cadre of like leaders has like completely cashed out on without accomplishing anything. And like if you read like the words of these like the trucker convoy people, and I mean the words you read are like those carefully selected to provide the most like positive viewpoint to a liberal audience. Like Dan, you just sent me like there's a piece in Barry Weiss's Substack about like you're going to call these people racist? Like many of them are not even white. And a lot of them are claiming like, they're saying, oh, like we're not anti-vax, like we're vaccinated now. But if you read it, like, their complaints are like the things that they say they're protesting against is like in a vacuum, like totally sympathetic. It's just like the the failure of the government to like provide or make anyone's lives better, like their feelings of powerlessness and just the general shitty condition and worsening condition of everyday life. Same with, Chaz or Black Lives Matter. You can like look at any of the problems that they say they're protesting and like who could not be sympathetic. But like, the end outcome results of it and the people in charge of it are like are not in any way like either like know what they're doing or are really like seeking to alleviate these problems. And in the trucker protests, like specifically, like the people who are like funding it and backing it for the most part are like come from like anti-union oligarchs. Like they're specifically trying to destroy unions and like working class people and build pipelines, like, just bulldoze indigenous lands to build pipelines across Canada.
I mean, all you need to do is look at some of these Telegram channels or even just photographs of like some of the rigs, where it's just like these people have been brain poisoned by generations of anti-communist propaganda. So on one hand, it's very seductive to look at this protest as a leftist because, being so alienated from the ability to get even close to the levers of power, right? So it's exciting. It's exciting to see the Capitol get shut down. But you have to be clear-headed and you have to look at what these people are saying and the iconography that they're using. And a lot of them, almost to a man, are talking about Justin Trudeau being a fucking communist, right? Which is hilarious. Because like Matt, as you said, the Trudeau administration is like if Obama never left office. So
yeah, the communist Barry Hussein Obama.
Yes.
And like, that's totally unfair. I mean, the sins of the father, Justin Trudeau's father was a communist revolutionary.
That's
not
right.
Him,
That's
okay?
right.
He's a goddamn liberal. Okay.
He took
He's
a
nothing
different
like his
path.
dad.
Doesn't fall far from the tree there.
Papa Fidel. Like another thing I have to bring up as an aside is that, something that has been inflicted on Canadian media consumers since Hillary lost the election is that Russia, and now the line is more China, is subverting our democracy in Canada with Facebook posts, right? Like that is the biggest threat to Canadian democracy. And a lot of journalists in Canada pivoted to becoming disinformation experts after 2016.
Same here, yeah.
They got that bag. And it's just funny to me that there is an actual protest that is being funded by foreign capital outside of the country that is having massive like structural and material effects on the Capitol, and none of these motherfuckers could predict it. They were just like, "Oh yeah, we've got it. We're doing OSINT. We're doing HUMINT. We're fucking decrypting shit. Like the People's Republic of China is like in your Canadian Tire bucks, you know." But they couldn't predict this fucking thing, and I think it's something we covered on Bottleman when we were talking about the last election here and the People's Party of Canada, which is that Canadian media and politicians absolutely fucking failed to assess QAnon properly. They just fucking blew it, you know?
Well, I mean, to be clear, the foreign capital you're talking about supporting this protest and undermining Canadian society is just American.
Yes, yes it is. That is why America needs to make up for their past sins, and they need to drop thousands of tons of napalm on the Ambassador Bridge right now. We gotta.
Well, was it okay? So, they're camped out on the Ambassador Bridge, which connects Detroit and Windsor, and yeah, it's hard to watch this and not have a certain part of yourself cheer on someone fucking over, the economy that badly. But Chris, didn't you say Matt Yglesias was literally calling for the Marines to be deployed to open up? Because 25% of all trade that takes place between America and Canada comes across that bridge. So yeah, now that these guys are camped out there, Yglesias, he's going through treat withdrawal, and he's like, send in Eddie Gallagher.
I need that sweet Canadian sugar.
Yeah.
Let's finish the job William Hull started in 1812.
Look,
let's fucking do this. It never made sense that Canada is its own country, that we didn't take it.
Yeah.
Honestly, we just got distracted by other shit. And now we can focus on what matters. We're shutting down the empire, right? We're out of Afghanistan now. And it's time to recommit to our original imperial dream, which was taking fucking Canada.
That's right,
I think
baby.
we can do
Canada,
it now.
Canada,
I think we could do it now.
Canada, second largest country in the world by landmass.
Yep.
Second largest
So
in the
much
world.
soft timber.
If America takes
so
it over,
so much water.
so if America,
So much water. Oh my God.
if we take over the second largest country in the world, then the United States of America and Canada will be the largest country in the world. Take that, Russia and China.
That's right.
No
Eat shit.
contest. We're now number one in every category except for life expectancy.
Yes, and I know the people for the job. Ambassador Bridge, Detroit. Who lives in Detroit? Big Hudson brothers. Big Hudson boys. Get those Hudson brothers, deputize them, make them special ops, get them up on the bridge. Kablamo. Problem solved.
And I mean, but the problem is though, we're going to have to deal with the Queen.
Right. Well, I mean, she's kind of just a figurehead.
Well,
she
okay,
she
we
is
can keep
really
her,
good at public speaking, though. So
no, like for America to take over Canada, to quell civil unrest, we will. It's sort of like when the Dole Pineapple Company took over Hawaii. We can leave a symbolic, we can leave a symbolic queen in charge of the Canadian monarchy. But
we'll let her just think that the American troops are the ones that she called for the martial law.
Yeah,
I think that would work.
We're here. Your Majesty, to enforce the martial law with the 82nd Airborne.
Andrew
Canada,
Hudson reporting for
it.
duty, Queen.
I mean, attention, Canadian citizens who are subjects of Queen Ramona or violent insurgents, you will be put under martial law. Don't get it twisted. You're going under martial law.
We've cleaned the pedos out of the deep underground military bunkers, and now you will be put to work mining Bitcoin for a queen. I don't make the rules. America does now. And the Queen.